Welcome back, everyone. It's D2 with Big Peach Running Company, and today we're going to talk about the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3. I have put over 50 miles into this shoe, and I can give a pretty good review and my thoughts on this shoe. So here we have in this bright pink color, and just so you know that this color is available for both men and women. There are also other colors available. There's a white one, and I'm sure that a few months from now they're going to probably offer a couple more colors. So this is the Saucony Endorphin Pro 3, and one of the biggest changes that they made was increase the stack height of that midsole foam. So previously, I believe it was like 35.5 millimeters, and now it's 39.5 millimeters. So right under that 40 millimeter stack height that was set by the World Athletic Association in order for it to become a competition legal shoe. So it does meet that requirement. And in doing so, it uses that Power Run PB midsole foam along with that carbon fiber plate. So more stack height means more midsole foam, and you would think that it would probably end up being heavier, and it's not. It's actually lighter than the previous version, but not as light as the original version. And I was a big fan of the original version, and I'll compare that here in a little bit, but they're not the exact same shoe. They feel very different to me. So the the outsole is kind of changed a little bit. Let me just bring this here and just kind of show you the difference between the two. So you have a lot more of that rubber out here, that carbon rubber, to provide a little bit more traction. This is probably why this weighs just slightly a little bit more than the original, in addition to the midsole foam, but it's really not that noticeable. When you put them side by side, you might be able to, on a scale, be able to actually tell the actual difference. So you do kind of now see the carbon fiber plate, here, and this is probably where they were able to shave some weight by opening up this window and this window here, so that you can not only see the carbon fiber plate, but also reduce that weight. So what happens when you add a lot more of that midsole is that you start getting that softer feel while running. The original felt a little bit firmer, a little bit when the way I describe it, like it seems to pop a little bit more, just a little bit snappier in the way that midfoot strikes. This one feels like you don't feel that responsiveness as much as you did before. It's there, it's just a lot of that impact coming up into the midsole is dispersed, and you don't feel it on your feet. So it doesn't feel quite as fast, but it is as fast. And that's kind of the beauty of this update, is that it ends up feeling like your runs are more effortless. So let's talk design. And like I said, the midsole is part of it. The upper is a big change as well, in that it's this engineered mesh, and it looks like it's two layers, and you can see that it's has these wide and open weave through here, and it is basically see-through. And they've removed some of the weight, and I've got one where I've completely unlaced, so you can see that through the tongue it is semi-gusseted, so it does have that gusset right through here to keep that strap from moving. It does have these holes right on the top that offers ventilation, and once again helps reduce weight. But if you can see through here, you can probably see my fingers through there. So that just kind of shows you how lightweight and breathable this shoe is. The interior, one of the things that I just sort of, it doesn't feel like super soft. You can feel some of the texture of that mesh. So it's not, I would not recommend running, completely sockless in this shoe. And this probably applies more so to triathletes who, coming off the bike, going into the run, want to save some time. Don't put socks on and run, sockless. And that's a great technique to save time in transition. And just, elastic laces, slide them on, and you're out on the run course. I would probably take time, if you were going to use this in a triathlon, to put on some socks or use a different shoe altogether. That's the only thing I would say. It just seems like it would cause a little bit of abrasion, and you'd have a rough time, and your feet would probably would feel it within the first mile of the course. So you're going to do it, just practice and make sure that it works for you. So lightweight upper, very flexible, just like the previous version. So the upper does not provide much support. It does have, a higher arch support through here. And what has happened as well is that the base is also wider. In addition to the additional stack height, and the heel is actually wider as well. And I'm going to put these side by side here. And you can kind of maybe see a little bit of that difference in the width in the forefoot and the width in the heel. It just feels and looks a little bit kind of wider, and in doing so actually improves the stability. In the original version of this shoe, I would tend to kind of roll in a little bit more, and it was more pronounced, and I could feel it to where, I ran a half marathon in this shoe straight out of the box, just went out and ran a half marathon in it and felt awesome. However, by the end, I did feel like right back in the heel, there was a little bit of strain, and that has to do a lot with the way I, tend to overpronate, not having enough support through the arch through here to prevent that rolling in. So it just, wasn't that supportive in that sense for myself. If you're a completely neutral runner, no issue. However, now going into this, because of the additional width in that heel, it doesn't seem like there's a little bit more stability through here, because more foam, means less compression as well. The width also provides that stability and provides a more stable type platform. So I felt no issues back here in the heel. As far as the lacing of the shoe, it just felt really secure. It did take me probably about 3 times before I figured out how to lace it up properly and how tight I needed to be, because on my right foot, it did loosen up a little bit and just felt like there's a little bit of movement. It never felt like it was, the heel was slipping or there was sloppy. It just felt like a little bit of movement. And in a racing type shoe, you kind of want that really nice, secure, snug fit. And as you can see, I ended up changing the lacing in the original just because, one, there wasn't enough padding at the top. I did feel a little bit of discomfort on the top of the foot where it just caused a little bit of swelling through there, and did use the runner's loop in order to get that heel kind of, locked in. And that worked for me in the original version. In this version, I've not had to do that. The heel seems like it's, locks in pretty well for me. Haven't had any issues. Like I said, if I lace it up nice and snug, it works really well. Overall, I have had some great runs in the shoe. Based on my times, it's a fast shoe, and you can race it and you can, really kind of push the pace. But I also feel that it's, whereas in the original, it just wanted to go fast all the time, and it would only benefit those that were really pushing the pace to get the benefits of it. In this case here, I don't feel like that's necessarily the case. Like, you get what you put into it. If you put in more effort, then it will return that and give you a very springy, very fast run. At the same time, you can run easy runs in the shoe because there's so much cushion in this that you don't feel like you have to go fast. I find that this would be, for me even, and considering it's more of a race shoe and a carbon plated shoe, that I could run this shoe for recovery runs even because there's so much cushion. So I feel where it used to be a race specific shoe, I just feel now it's probably a little bit more than that. And I find myself just doing regular daily runs in this shoe, which is very enjoyable. I'll also go to say that some of the things that I've kind of noticed between version 3 and the original is that while it's still fairly stiff and offers some flexibility, laterally like this, it just stiffer. The carbon plate seems stiffer in the original than in the version 3. It just seems like there's a little bit more flex, just a hair, a little bit more flex than in the original. And I don't know that anything was necessarily changed to the actual carbon plate. I feel that, it just, I don't know if it's the extra cushioning, the extra that just creates a little bit more, it's just less stiff and less rigid. And I think provides a little bit of the sensation, where provides less of that sensation, of that quick pop, and I don't feel like it's even a carbon plated shoe, where in other shoes that I've run in, you can definitely notice a carbon plate. In the original, for sure, I could tell because of that pop and that stiffness, it was a carbon plated shoe. This here doesn't feel like a carbon plated shoe, but it does feel very fast. Like I said, you can, what you put into it, if you put in hard effort, it's going to deliver and give you that responsiveness and that quickness and that quick turnover. And that's what I like about the additional foam, is that it does have that rebound, which allows for that kind of higher and quicker cadence when you put that effort into it. If you're going to go slow and just do easy, then it sort of kind of dials it back and says, okay, I get what you're trying to do. Let's just use the cushioning. Let's just ease those miles. Let's reduce the impact and just make it a nice, comfortable run. So overall, I mean, I like the shoe. It is different. So if you want something that has a very fast and snappy type of feel, then version 1 and version 2 of the Endorphin Pro are probably better suited for you. But if you're, like more of that soft, where you don't feel the run underneath, the Endorphin 3 is probably the Endorphin Pro 3 is probably going to be a better choice for you. Like I said, I feel like it appeals to a lot more individuals, and it's going to accommodate a lot more foot shapes. The upper, like I said, is improved over version 1, where I had to make some adjustments. I don't have to make any adjustments. I do feel that the toe box is a little bit wider and a little bit more forgiving. And overall, I think the fit has been much improved. So for those instances, the Endorphin Pro 3 is a much improved version, along with the additional cushioning, the reduced weight from version 2. All those things I think are great, and I think it's a shoe that you really should try on for yourself. So I'd recommend that you come into any of our Big Peach Running Company locations, try them on for yourself. There's also the Endorphin Speed 3 that we're currently reviewing, and I'd say that's another option as well, using that nylon plate and to provide that a different feel at a lower price point. So I hope you enjoyed the review. Have you run in the Endorphin Pro 3 or any of the previous versions? What are your thoughts on it? Let us know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And if you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. We'll review the Endorphin Speed 3 and many other shoes that we've got in the pipeline. So just keep at it, just keep running, keep training, and remember, may your best miles be those covered on foot.